The most dangerous business podcast in the world. Entrepreneurs and ambitious people, if you want to build a powerful, profitable, impactful business, if you want to study and fall in love with the process, if you want to acquire the skills, habits, and determination you need to level up in business and in life, that's fantastic because I'm working on the same thing. This is the Game of Grow movement. We are back. You are now listening to the Game of Grow podcast, and I'm your host, Muoyo Okome. Episode 5 of the most dangerous business podcast in the world. It doesn't matter where you start or where you are right now. If you're willing to develop your skills, study success, and work tenaciously over a long period of time, your future can be way bigger than your past, and that is my promise to you. Take, for example, my man James. And if you read the very first edition of the Hustler's Corner, this is the weekly update I send via email, you already know this story. If not, you are missing out, so make sure to sign up for the Hustler's Corner. Go to gameofgrow.com, submit your name and email using the form at the very top of the page. And if you like, just email me at hi@gameofgrow.com. I will personally forward you Volume 1, which I happen to be very proud of. So today we are talking about how to start, and James, he started. And I am excited to see his progress in the app game. So just to share the story, James is one of my app moguls. He joined me over a year ago, and this is before the program was even really a program. In December, he won co-member of the month with his app, Mobile Fax for iPhone, when that went live. And this app is used for businesses and individuals who still need to send faxes and don't have fax machines, so it fills a need. And I always advise people when they get into the app game to get to market as quickly, cheaply, and imperfectly as possible. And the real learnings begin when you're live. And nobody ever listens to me, neither did James, but, it's not his fault, neither did I at first. But now he's live and he's getting these learnings from the market, and I love seeing him try all these things, adjusting, and really becoming an entrepreneur. I've already seen him face setbacks and plow through them on his way to almost 70 paying subscribers, and these are people who will pay him month after month, so it's only going to increase, it's only going to compound. But for this to happen, he actually had to get started, and he had to get out there to make it happen. So everybody, round of applause for James. And if you like, feel free to review his app, because there's no need to subscribe or to pay to do so. I've saved the link for you at gameofgrow.com/faxapp, so feel free. James is a definition of Game of Grow. All right. So before we dive into today's topic, you guys are killing it on the subscribes and the reviews. So clap for yourselves. We've crossed 50 reviews. So let's see how quickly we can make it to 100. And we've already crossed 1,000 downloads. I think 2,000 will happen a lot quicker. And in case you guys don't know, podcasts are notoriously hard to grow. But thanks to you guys passing on the word guerrilla style grassroots, we're doing exactly that. So I've been thinking one thing I want to do in true Game of Grow fashion is to be extremely, extremely transparent with the numbers, the downloads, the metrics. And this is not something you're going to get on most podcasts. I want you guys to see the true impact of what happens when you listen, subscribe, review, recommend. And that's how we're growing it bit by bit. It's my job to bring you top level content that allows you to learn something, get value, and really makes you proud to spread the word. And as we hit these milestones faster and faster, I'm going to figure out some cool ways that I can reward you either individually and or collectively so that we can celebrate. And it should be a lot of fun. But yeah, guys, anyway, each week we feature one review of the week as a way of saying thank you for helping us to grow the show and to grow the community and the movement. So to that end, for the very first time, I want to make sure I feature somebody new who I don't know personally, or at least I don't know the username. So big shout out to TuneJunez with a Z. Without further ado, this is TuneJunez. Sit back and relax as Muoyo Okome tells listeners about the trials and tribulations of not only his life and the app business, but also the marketing and savviness needed to become a true self-made entrepreneur. Love the length of time and detail with each podcast episode. Each episode stands on its own, but together it flows like beautiful African fabric to give listeners what they need, advice and positive energy to pursue their dreams in any field they're in. I expect the episodes to keep getting better, but it's a great start so far, and I'm entertained and intrigued by what's yet to come and the guests that will eventually arrive to supplement Moyo's words of wisdom. And again, that review came from TuneJunez with a Z. Thank you so much. And please feel free to email me at hi@gameofgrow.com so I can say thanks. And I would love to let the community know a little bit more about you. So guys, go ahead and subscribe and leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And maybe I'll be featuring you next on the Game of Grow podcast. And guys, after you subscribe and leave your review, please do email me. Let me know that you did. Let me know a little bit. And also let me know a little bit about you for two reasons. Number one, it's just great to get to know more about you guys in the community. And number two, it gives me the opportunity to share more about you when I do the review of the day. All right, guys. So moving on. On this episode, we are discussing how to start. How do you take that first step in your entrepreneurial venture? And this actually comes about from a question that was submitted by Brittany. So thank you for that, Brittany. Brittany said, what is step one? To clarify, step one for starting. I have lots of ideas, but no idea on where to begin. Amazing question. I think we all have it. So guys, the first thing to establish here is that there are a million ways to do this. Anyone who tells you there is one path alone, they're lying to you. It's not true. There are so many ways to get it done. What I want to share with you today is how I've done it. What I've done right, what I've learned, what I could have done way better. And I have a feeling that this is going to be a more helpful approach for you. Cool? So let's revisit my origin story, which you guys have heard from a couple different angles in episode 1 and episode 3. And I think episode 3 is particularly relevant to this question. But we're going to go more in depth here on the start thing, on the question of how do you start. So our story starts with me working as a quote-unquote business manager for one of the biggest technology companies in the world. In reality, I was mostly managing spreadsheets and managing not to go crazy. Throughout life, I've mostly done all the things we've all been told to do. Go to school, study hard, get good grades, and that's what I did. For whatever reason, after both college and after grad school, I was rejected from a lot of jobs that I applied to before I finally landed this opportunity. And when I did, I was making the most money I'd ever made in my life. The elusive 6 figures, $100,000. And I definitely could not complain about that. Like a lot of folks in the corporate world, all I wanted to do was to do well. I wanted to dominate in my job, get recognition, get the promotions, get more responsibility, and more money. I didn't really care about climbing up the corporate ladder because I always had a vision that eventually I'd work for me. I just didn't necessarily think it would be that soon. But making the money was important to me. The struggle ended up being that I was working long hours, days, nights, and weekends in a job that I did not enjoy. And I was not learning much on a daily or weekly basis. Actually, a funny story. When I went back and visited business school on a couple occasions for recruiting trips, I'd be speaking to the students and I actually realized that my mind was atrophying and I was getting dumber from a lack of using my mind. And anyway, I was pretty certain that from their actions and our interactions that the people I work with, the higher ups, that they did not respect me. The worst part of all, I was starting to internalize some of the negativity and negative energy in the atmosphere. And guys, if you find yourself in an environment, anything that's like this, make sure that you go the extra mile to fortify yourself against that negativity. And I'd even begun to wonder if I was smart, if I was competent, if I was capable. I gained a lot of weight and I just was not feeling good about myself overall. I wondered how it was, no matter what I did, no matter how hard I worked, I just kept on finding my way back to the same exact familiar place, which was just utter and complete failure. Then, because things weren't going poorly enough, I discovered that I was being demoted or moved into a position that I wasn't actually trained for or credentialed for, and I wasn't going to be able to contribute to the team. It was kind of like they were just looking for a place to park me because I was not seen as a valuable member of the organization. And I am grateful that they didn't just fire me though, because while all this was going on, I was able to collect that check. And I still remember crying quietly to myself in my car driving that day down Washington Boulevard at nighttime on the way home. And it was right around then I made the decision that something just had to change. And for any of you who are going through something similar, if you're going through a terrible time professionally, maybe even personally, both, I want you to pay attention to this story and hopefully you can use it to your advantage and it can serve you as well as it has served me. So you guys know the story. I was running around frantically. I had massive energy. I was just looking for a way out. I was looking for anything else that was legal that I could potentially pursue, whether it was another job or something entrepreneurial. Negative energy, like I said, like I mentioned in episode 4, I believe, negative energy can be powerful fuel, especially when you feel like you're out of other options. So I was looking at everything, and I came across an entrepreneur doing mobile apps. I studied him for a while, and after a while I said, hey, I think this could be my thing. I love that individuals and small teams were succeeding with it. I love that you could build them one time and benefit many times over. It's not that there was no work to it. That doesn't exist. It's not real. But your work could be magnified. The apps, they kept on working without getting tired, complaining, or taking breaks, and you could always add more to the team. So I decided I was going to build a big app portfolio so that out of this portfolio, some of these apps would be big winners, and overall, they would just work together to replace my income and free me financially. That's when I dove in and I invested in a book. I invested in 2 different online courses. I kind of spent too much money to educate myself. And it started with small results, but it was enough to show me that it was possible if I kept on pushing. So in the first month, I got 936 downloads for $81.78. I then knew that my biggest problem was getting more downloads, so I dove really deep into the marketing. And after a while, I was able to reach $1,000 to $2,000 in monthly revenue. I wasn't there yet, and I was running into a bunch of different problems. So I just tried to, each time I ran into a problem, just address that problem one by one when they arose. So finally, that December, which was about 6-7 months in, the momentum started to compound and things really started to take off and the numbers started to make sense financially. And I kind of knew I was on my way. At this point, I was getting more money than I had originally hoped for. I was starting to experience some of that freedom that I dreamed of. And I started being looked to for leadership. And I started having the pleasure of helping a lot of other people with their own journeys, which is exactly what we're here to do today. So I hope by sharing my story and my experience that I can be helpful to you. And I'm still on that journey to this day. Just because you experience success once, it doesn't mean that you don't have to continue earning it, or that there aren't different levels of success to unlock. But today we want to talk about how you start, or even how do you restart. Maybe you've had success already, you've experienced that, and you want to build another thing. I've been there. Maybe you've experienced a failure. Maybe you've experienced 5 failures. I've been there as well. Maybe it's a bit of both. So based on my own experience that we just recapped, here is roughly how I would approach it. Again, keep in mind that there are many other ways, but this is just my take. Step number 1. You want to make a decision that you're going to start and that you're going to finish. I didn't know how I was going to get from here to there, but I knew for damn sure I needed to make a change. It didn't matter how long it was going to take, and it didn't matter what it was going to take. In my experience, when I approach with that kind of conviction and that level of intensity, fervor, determination, I have a much, much, much better success rate in getting what I want than if I just go through the motions, or if I say, I'm just going to give it a try. That doesn't work. And another hack I like to use in combination with this is to make an investment. So that way I have some skin in the game, and I'm much less likely to forget about the idea and move on. For example, the night in the coffee shop when I came up with the idea for Game of Grow, minutes later I was signing up for all the social channels and buying the domain. So this wasn't a huge investment, but it was an investment, and it just helped me to move forward. So guys, you don't ever just want to just give it a try. You want to make a decision about what is going to happen. It's really a slight shift in thinking, but it is powerful. Make a decision. Step number 2 is to start. Now, it sounds simple, but it might be the biggest thing. Even though I didn't know what the heck to do in the beginning, I just got into action. I started trying a lot of different things. A lot of these things were the wrong things for me, but it allowed me to find some of the right things. If I just stayed in one place and tried to come up with the best plan, it never would have happened. So just start. And if you can nail points 1 and 2, make a decision and start, you will be ahead of the game. But I still got 3 or 4 more for you. So number 3, what are your interests? Put very simply, this is going to be a lot of work over a long period of time if you want to be successful with entrepreneurship. Why you don't necessarily need extreme passion in the thing you're working on, if you don't at least enjoy some part of it, you're going to struggle to put in the work necessary for you to excel. So number 4, I would look at market demand. And we talked about this in episode 3, so feel free to go back and listen to that again. If we look at things from first principles, if we really break it down to the essentials, to have a business, you need to solve a problem for some set of customers. And then in return for that, they compensate you with money. In my ad business to this day, I research the top charts and other data sources to determine what it is that people want and how they're spending their money so that I can use that data to inform my decisions. And no matter what you decide to go into, it can't just be about what you like. You want to be sure that whatever you decide to offer the market, there's a demand for it. And you can do this by looking at things that are already selling. You can uncover problems that you're aware of that can be addressed better, faster, more efficiently, or whatever. So those are 2 different ways that you can look at market demand. Something I definitely could have done better earlier in my business was zeroing in on exactly which customers I want to serve so I could offer them a series of complementary solutions rather than just moving from opportunity to opportunity. So that may be something you want to think about, and that will definitely bring value to your business, but don't let it stop you from starting. Step number 5, you want to establish a base. While I know that there's power in visualizing where you eventually want to be, the big dreams, begin with the end in mind, I do love that point, I didn't allow that to paralyze me. What I needed right away, I didn't need Amazon right away. What I needed was to replace my income or at least be able to cover my expenses and a little bit of a margin of safety on top of that. So my target became making about $300 per day. If I could do that in a reliable fashion, in a recurring fashion, I was in business. And that is pretty much all that you need to do from the start. If you can cover your needs and then some in a recurring fashion, it's going to allow you to go out and take bigger and bigger risks without ever needing an investor. And I'll tell you that you gain a lot of confidence by handling that for yourself, or at least I gained a lot of confidence. And it's a lot more achievable than if I thought I need to build Amazon or Facebook on my first try. And that is what a lot of people set out to do, and that can be very daunting. Step number 6, find a mentor. Step number 6, you find a mentor. All the things we already talked about in the episode, these can all be expedited. If you just find someone who's already done what you want to do, they already have the results you want, and then you walk in their path. I had several mentors for the ad business, as I already discussed. I paid for their books, I paid for their online courses, and I'm glad that I did. It saved me a ton of time, and it allowed me to get to the results that I wanted a lot quicker than I would have otherwise. So to this day, I invest a lot of time and a lot of money in my skills and personal development in order to get the skills I need to accomplish what I want to accomplish. I also leverage free and inexpensive information. I use podcasts, books, audiobooks. All these things can be mentors as well. And sometimes I'm lucky enough to find myself in a position where somebody, maybe they took an interest in me, maybe I cultivated a relationship, and the mentoring is free of charge. But generally, I don't count on that. And I don't have a problem paying to invest in my future if I know there's value there. And most of the people who I know who have had some level of success, they'll tell you just about the same thing. And note right here that it does have to be the right person for your goal. So definitely do your research before you start signing up for everything and spending money unwisely. Also note that just because you find a mentor, that does not absolve you from doing the work yourself. You're still going to have to run your own race. So know that as well. But mentorship, it can definitely be a major shortcut, a major key when it comes to this entrepreneurship game. And like I said, I will never claim that I have all the answers for you. So keep letting me know what your goals are, what it is that you want to learn. And as much as I can, I'll do my best to introduce you to and expose you to accomplished, incredible people I know that can help you to get started. So guys, that is about all I have to say on how to take the first step. Well, hold up, actually. I'd be remiss here if I didn't mention this. After all, my wife is Nikela Matthews Okome, aka Side Hustle Pro of the chart-topping Side Hustle Pro podcast. I didn't leave my job until things were up and running and making significant revenue. And you don't have to either. You can certainly get started on the side as a side hustle and still be effective in my experience. You just need to be disciplined and take it seriously and subtract from those areas of life that you need to so you can focus on it and give it your all. Which brings us, guys, to the question of the week. And that question is, once again, from a different angle. What do you want to learn about doing business online? So send in your response to hi@gameofgrow.com, or you can do it in the Game of Grow community at gameofgrow.com/community, or you can reach me at Game of Grow on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And guys, this episode was sponsored by you. So if and only if you got value for each and every episode that you liked, please bring me back one like-minded person who you know will enjoy this content, and I want you to show them how to subscribe and leave a review. And obviously, I'd love for you to do the same. And send me a screenshot at hi@gameofgrow.com so I can say thank you. And tell me a bit about yourself and what you want to learn. This is exactly, guys, how we are growing the show through word of mouth, and it is working big time. They don't want us to win, but guess what? We are going to win anyway. All right, guys. With that, I will see you guys back here real soon on the Game of Grow podcast. And I'd love to see you guys in the Game of Grow Facebook community. So join us at gameofgrow.com/community. To sign up for our weekly updates from the Hustler's Corner, check out gameofgrow.com and use the sign up form right at the top of the page. This is not your typical entrepreneurship podcast. A lot of people ask me for advice, and I figure rather than tell you, I want to show you exactly what I'm doing. You'll see when I get it right, when I fall on my face, it happens much more than you think, and that is exactly how we grow, what I learn, and everything that happens along the way. I don't want to show you the result. I want you to see the process. It is not about where you start. It's about where you want to go, who you want to become, and the price you're willing to pay to get there. A lot of people talk about VCs and investors, but here in this community, gameofgrow.com/community, we take action and we invest in ourselves. I love the game. I love the hustle. I'm grateful for every moment, and I can't put my foot on the brakes. If you want to build or grow a powerful, profitable, ethical business that makes money and also makes change and leaves the world a little bit better than you found it, I love if we could work on that together. Guys, it does not matter where you start. Are you willing to take the challenge and grow? DJ, drop that beat and take us out. Thank you for tuning in to the Game of Grow movement. If you'd like to hear more, head to gameofgrow.com to sign up for my weekly updates about my own journey as I create the powerful, profitable, and impactful business of my dreams. And I want to hear about your journey as well. And if you want to connect on social media, I'm at Game of Grow on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. On LinkedIn, just search for my name. Don't forget to join us in the Game of Grow community, which you can search for on Facebook. And if you love the show, the biggest way you can help is to subscribe, rate, and review, and then find a like-minded friend you can help to do the same. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon.